FIFA World Cup 2026 co-host Mexico became the first team to reach the knockout rounds with a 1-0 win over South Korea at a delirious Guadalajara stadium on Thursday. Luis Romo's goal just after half-time put Mexico through as Group A winners with a match to go, following a goalkeeping clanger. Labour Mayor Andy Burnham cleared a path to ousting British Prime Minister Keir Starmer after winning a parliamentary seat in Northern England on Friday in what could be the most consequential local election in more than 6 decades. Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor nicknamed the King of the North, won the contest in Makerfield in northwest England with 24,927 votes, while the candidate for Nigel Farage's Populist Reform UK Party came second with 15,696 votes.
United Nations Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar has urged the UN Security Council to take notice of India's brazen violations of the Indus Waters Treaty, warning that New Delhi's actions threaten Pakistan's water security, regional stability and international peace. Pakistan's permanent representative to the UN ambassador Azim Iftikhar Ahmad delivered a letter from DPM Dar to the president of the UNSC, Ambassador Leonor Zalabata Torres of Colombia, drawing attention to India's violations of the IWT. Karachi. Public transport largely remained off the city roads on Thursday as transport operators observed a citywide wheel jam strike against electronic traffic challenges, heavy fines and other regulatory measures. They also announced that the suspension of services would continue on Friday after talks with the government representatives ended without a breakthrough.
Washington. President Donald Trump has insisted that the deal he has reached with Iran is superior to the one that President Barack Obama sealed in 2015. While Trump's critics say at this point he has gotten much less and given up much more to Tehran, here is how the two agreements compare.
Karachi. The South Police on Thursday claimed to have arrested 2 suspected drug dealers allegedly affiliated with the network of alleged cocaine dealer Anmol Pinky. A police statement said that acting on a tip-off, the police conducted a raid in Clifton, Block 6, and apprehended 2 bike riders who were involved in online supply of cocaine and ice, crystal meth.
UK politician Andy Burnham could now challenge British Prime Minister Keir Starmer for the leadership of the governing Labour Party, and the country having resoundingly won the election as the Member of Parliament for Makerfield. Thursday's by-election, the equivalent of a special election in the US, was triggered with the sole purpose of providing a path to 10 Downing Street for Burnham, the mayor of Greater Manchester, who is widely seen as the Labour politician best placed to unseat the embattled Prime Minister.
Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham has cruised to victory in a high-stakes by-election in Northern England, paving the way for him to challenge Prime Minister Keir Starmer for the leadership of the Labour Party and the United Kingdom. Burnham handily defeated his closest challenger, Robert Kenyon, the candidate for the Anti-Immigration Reform UK, in the seat of Makerfield. Vote results showed early on Friday, securing the House of Commons seat he needs to mount a bid for the Prime Ministership.
Things have moved rapidly where the Iran-US Memorandum of Understanding is concerned. While the physical document was supposed to be signed in Switzerland today, the main stakeholders, including the American and Iranian presidents, have already put their signatures on the digital dotted line, with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif adding his as mediator. Now, if all goes as planned, the actual negotiations will kick off in the rarefied environs of Bürgenstock, with Washington and Tehran's representatives getting down to the more difficult task of how to implement the 14-point MOU. While no physical copy of the deal is available, the details contained in media reports, said to be read out to journalists by a US official, make for interesting reading. For all its bluster targeted at the Iranian government in the run-up to and during the war, if even half of these points are agreed to, the Trump administration would have given Tehran a better deal than the Obama-era JCPOA.
6 BN are earmarked for uplift, 90 BN for non-development expenditures, 13 BN allocated for trauma centre in Quetta Quetta. The Balochistan government has increased health sector funding and allocated 96 billion for the fiscal year 2026-27, reflecting a 30% rise compared to the current year's Rs 71 BN.
Islamabad, a parliamentary committee on Thursday continued its deliberations on the Finance Bill 2026, examining proposals related to sales tax exemptions, import regulations, income tax amendments, digital tax administration, and sector-specific concessions. A meeting of the National Assembly's Standing Committee on Finance, chaired by Naveed Kamar, took up 3 key proposals for discussion, including the expansion of sales tax on retail prices, 15-year tax exemption for Pakistan International Airlines, PA, and the removal of taxes on stationery items.
Harare, Zimbabwe. Zimbabwean lawmakers have approved a bill that would replace direct presidential elections with a vote by parliament. A proposal that supporters say would promote policy continuity, but that opponents fear could weaken democratic accountability and further entrench the ruling party's grip on power. I just cannot believe that these are the people who want to elect a president on behalf of everyone. Barnabas Gura, a 38-year-old from Harare's Glenview suburb, told Al Jazeera. Deductive AI, a startup that uses AI to catch and resolve bugs in software, has agreed to be sold to enterprise software company Elastic for up to $85 million, according to a person with knowledge of the deal. Deductive, which was founded in 2023, came out stealth last November when it announced a $7.5 million seed round led by CRV with participation from Databricks Ventures, Tomvest Ventures and PrimeSet. The investment valued the startup at $33 million, according to PitchBook.
As India cut off access to messaging app Telegram for a week over concerns about exam-related fraud, users turned to virtual private networks, VPNs, and alternative messaging apps in unusually large numbers. App intelligence firm AppFigures told TechCrunch that Tuesday, the day India announced the Telegram restriction, marked the biggest day for VPN app downloads in the country since at least the start of 2025. Downloads of major VPN apps rose 49% from a recent daily average of 139,000 to 208,000, the firm said. National CERT Pakistan has issued a high-severity cybersecurity advisory warning that attackers are actively exploiting a critical security vulnerability in a widely used corporate VPN system from Palo Alto Networks. The flaw, tracked as CVE 2026-0257, affects the global Protect VPN portal and gateway components running on Pan OS software. According to the advisory, the issue can allow attackers to bypass authentication mechanisms and gain unauthorized access to VPN sessions without requiring any user interaction.
A federal judge in the United States has ordered the release of Salah Sarsour, a Muslim leader who says his detention by immigration authorities was a form of retaliation for his outspoken support of Palestine. On Thursday, US District Judge James Patrick Hanlon ruled that Sarsour had raised a substantial claim that he was targeted for speech protected under the First Amendment of the US Constitution. That, in turn, could render his detention unlawful.
Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Thursday approved an extension of the federal government's austerity measures until June 30. According to an official notification issued by the Cabinet Division, the existing cost-cutting policies will continue for the extended period as part of ongoing fiscal discipline efforts.
US Vice President J.D. Vance has criticized certain members of the Israeli cabinet over their recent personal remarks targeting US President Donald Trump. He said such statements are inappropriate given the strategic relationship between the two countries. Federal police in Brazil have carried out more than a dozen raids as part of a widening corruption investigation, including one targeting a senator closely allied with President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. On Thursday, Brazilian police released a statement saying 18 search and seizure warrants were executed in the federal district of Brasilia, as well as the states of Bahia and Sao Paulo.
Cuba's Communist Party has approved a raft of unprecedented free market measures as part of an emergency economic package. The package was submitted to the country's National Assembly on Thursday, where it is all but assured to pass. United States President Donald Trump has taken to social media to boast about the state of the economy amid a looming peace deal between the US and Iran, which yesterday signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social,
the president claimed that oil is flowing and added that the stock markets are roaring, jobs are at records, prices are at dropping kits, and prices are bad ability.
AI inference company Basen is close to finalizing a stunning $1.5 billion funding round at a $13 billion valuation, the WSJ reports. Just 5 months ago, the startup announced that it had raised a $300 million Series E at a $5 billion valuation. And that round was just 9 months after raising a $150 million Series D. If finalized, this latest round would represent a 160% increase in valuation in less than half a year. However, the WSJ reports that this is a split-priced round, a tactic startups are using to boost their headline valuation and make lead investors look good on paper. Some investors in this latest funding round are reportedly coming in at a $13 billion valuation, while others at $11 billion, sources told the Journal. This deal is said to be co-led by Spark Capital, Sands Capital, Altimeter Capital and Wellington Management.
Super subs Johan Manzambi and Ruben Vargas fired Switzerland to a 4-1 win over 10-man Bosnia-Herzegovina in a late rush of goals in Los Angeles on Thursday. The result gave the Swiss a strong chance of reaching the knockout round as one of the top 2 teams in Group B.
The US has dropped its naval blockade of Iran after the 2 countries signed a deal to end the war in the Middle East, despite Iran's supreme leader saying he had a different view and that Donald Trump signed the deal out of desperation. US Central Command confirmed the lifting of the blockade on X in accordance with the president's direction, and US enforcement of the blockade has ceased.
Lionel Messi's fat father is recovering from a health issue and evolving favourably. His family said in a fat statement. The family said on Thursday that Jorge was under medical follow-up and asked for privacy. It did not specify the fat nature of the health issue.
Iran's supreme leader says he initially disagreed with the recently signed Memorandum of Understanding between Tehran and Washington, but ultimately approved it after receiving assurances from Iran's leadership that the country's interests would be protected. In a written statement carried by Iranian state media on Thursday, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei said he had a different opinion on the agreement, but granted permission after President Masoud Pezeshkian and other officials pledged to safeguard the rights of the Iranian nation and the resistance front and accepted responsibility for the deal.
Washington, D.C. A few months ago, it would have been unthinkable for a mainstream politician in the United States, let alone a Republican senator, to acknowledge Iran's right to self-defense. But on Wednesday, that's exactly what Senator Roger Marshall did. I think that they have to be able to defend themselves, he told the news channel CNN. Neymar has been ruled out of Brazil's second World Cup match because of a lingering calf injury, the Brazilian Football Confederation has confirmed. The forward will not travel with the rest of the squad for their Group C match against Haiti in Philadelphia, the federation said in a statement on Thursday.
Snap will be spinning off an internal generative AI video team into a separate company. The new company, dubbed Dotmo, will focus on developing AI models that can create interactive gaming experiences. Snap told TechCrunch Snap cited the high costs of conducting such work internally as one of the reasons for the spin-off.
The Punjab Revenue Authority has sealed multiple branches of fast food chain KFC in Lahore over alleged tax non-compliance. According to official sources, 5 KFC branches in Lahore have been sealed, including the DHA EAM and DHAZ block outlets.